I read 9 books in the month of January, so let's talk about them. I'll give you one sentence for each book and what I rated them, and then you can decide whether or not they're for you. The Dragon Republic by RF Kuang, which is book 2 in the Poppy War trilogy. The continuation of an epic war saga that's based off of historical events between Japan and China. I give the second book in this trilogy 4.5 stars. All Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. This is a very dark, religious, and racially charged thriller that dealt with very serious subject matter and had a thrilling end. This is my first book from S.A. Cosby, but it definitely won't be my last, and I gave this book 4 stars. Boys in the Valley by Philip Fracassi. This is Lord of the Flies meets The Exorcist in a pretty religiously charged horror that definitely had moments that made it hard for me to sleep. I gave this book 3.75 stars. Where the Dark Stand Still by A.B. Puranik. This is a dark fairy tale fantasy about an enchanted forest and the demon that protects it and a village girl who finds herself in his care. This has a Beauty and the Beast retelling aspect, but is much more than that, and is based in Polish lore, which I loved reading about. I gave this 4 stars. Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This is a thriller that unravels the mystery of what happened to a writer's wife when she goes missing, and a year later he sees her on a mysterious island. This is not my favorite from Alice Feeney, but it was still a really good time. I gave this 3.5 stars. The Burning God by RF Kuang, the third and final installment in the Poppy War trilogy. This was a heartbreaking and perfect conclusion to this fantastic trilogy. I will now always be an RF Kuang stan. I couldn't find a fault with this novel, and it was my only 5-star of the month. Highly recommend the Poppy War trilogy if you have not read it. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is my first time reading this book, which is shocking. This is post-apocalyptic meets virtual reality as a young boy and his friends are trying to discover James Halliday's Easter eggs inside the Oasis. If you are a fan of Dungeon Crawler Carl, I bet you will be a fan of this. I gave this 4 stars. That was more than one sentence for sure. Demon in White by Christopher Rucchio. I'm running out of things to say about this space opera series. This is epic scale sci-fi, and I think Christopher Rucchio's work just gets better with each book. This was by far my favorite in the series. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I will definitely be reading the 4th one in February. The Helm of Midnight by Marion Lostetter. This is sci-fi fantasy thriller with a dash of horror that has the most unique world building I can remember reading in a long time. A fantastic start to a trilogy with a protagonist that is highly likable. A solid 4 stars. Started the year off with a bang, hoping to continue it into February. My favorite book of the month was definitely The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. What was your favorite read in January?